Hi everyone, I am Manisha, your host, and I welcome you to the third episode of Product Prism Podcast. And in today's episode, we are going to discuss about engineering, entrepreneurship, and we are going to explore technical foundation and how they become the bedrock of the business leadership. We will dive into the critical skills, mindset, and pivotal moment that transforms an engineer into a successful business leader or an innovator. Whether you are an engineer considering to move into a leadership role, or you are a technical founder building your venture, or a business leader looking for a better way to collaborate with the engineering team, today's conversation is going to provide you with a lot of valuable insight on how to navigate through this technical to business bridge. And joining me today, we have three incredible guests. First up, we have Jagan. Jagan is a seasoned product and data science leader with 20 plus years of experience into IT consulting, data analytics, and product development. And he currently heads the product development and the data science team at Amfilterit, where he focuses on building solution that leverages AI, machine learning, and cloud technology to tackle the challenges that are related to the digital fraud. Joining him, we have Amit, whose career has evolved from software engineering to strategic leadership role at Cap, Gemini, and Eaton. Amit has championed digital transformation initiatives, process automation, and consistent. He has been driving improvements in financial quality and people KPI, where he has also ensured that he is building a high performing team and works across multiple business domains. Completing our panel, we have Anand. Anand is a product and delivery leader with a passion of building and scaling technology driven business. Anand brings extensive experience in shaping strategy, maximizing P&L, also combining his entrepreneurship spirit with an operational excellence to create sustainable business value through technological innovation. So, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Thank you for making time for it.
Okay, Manisha, thank you. Happy to be here, Manisha.
Great, great. So we'll just get started, and to begin with, our topic focuses on engineering and the product development, like innovation, not development, but innovation mindset. So, what do you think? How engineering to business, how this shift happened during your journey while you were following it? What is your experience, and what do you think has changed when you moved from engineering to a more of business leadership role, and how do you decide a lot of things, like how do you make the decisions? So yeah, you can get started.
For any technical person transitioning into a business role, right, it is a given. At some point of time, they'll have to do that shift in their journey. Earlier it is actually better, right? So typically it's a mindset change, right? So you have to start looking outwards. Typically, the problem with technical people like us is like we are so inward looking, right? We are constrained within our code, within our project, etc. So we just have to step out of that zone, look outwards, probably talk to business more, and then once you know those stakeholders, gradually build that mindset, because it is going to help you to become even technically stronger or become a better leader. It is going to help you. So I think that's a mind shift change, and earlier you do it, it's better. That's my opinion on it.
I agree with Jagan. I think it's a major mind shift change as we start our journey as technical professionals. We are all passionate about technology, want to experiment with it regardless of what we are trying to solve, what problems we are trying to solve. We just want to experiment with technology. But as we evolve into business leaders, the focus shifts from technology to delivering those business outcomes, which takes time. It's not easy. It takes time. But being aware of this transition has helped me personally to become more effective in my role.
So, to put it succinctly, what I would like to say is when you are working in the engineering space, you are more or less looking at being a solution provider. Okay, a problem is stated for you, and in a particular technological context, you are trying to provide a solution. Whereas, in a business context, you are trying to solve a problem. You become a problem solver, and that is a huge mind shift. Though it is nuanced, it does carry similar meanings, but it is still very nuanced when you shift that particular role from being a solution provider to a technical problem to a problem solver to a business problem, looking for acceptable business outcomes. So this shift is seems small, but is huge.
So, can you all state one engineering principle, all of you, one by one? Maybe we can discuss that. One engineering principle that you think, be it business leadership or be it engineering development, something that people should always carry on, or something that you have always carried on in your career and that you think works for you all the time.
So looking at a problem holistically, okay, so be it technical or when you become a business leader, right? Not working in a silo and looking at holistically kinds of applies to both technical and the business people. Okay, so only when you start looking at that way, you become a problem solver. So I think that's one character that's common for both technical and the business people, I think. So that's what I believe.
My opinion, analytical thinking as well as thinking and acting strategically is applicable for all early professionals to senior business leaders as well.
I would say data driven approach. A lot of times, what happens is, whether it is from a technical solutioning point of view, or whether it is from a business solutioning point of view, when I gut, hunch or gut feeling kind of approaches, can overpower you because you are emotionally charged, and you look into that particular thing in a way which is, everything is going to work out for me. My solution is going to solve all the problems and all. But the more look, while solving an engineering problem, data is extremely crucial. Similarly, even while solving a business problem, if you have a data driven approach, that lays a really good foundation which you can scale from a technical engineering world to a business world as well.
In my episode one, I've gotten similar answer wherein they mentioned that it's very important not to go by your gut feeling when you are into product innovation, because a lot of the gut feeling must be driven by your emotion. And there's saying, right, like we trust in God and for everything else we need data. Let's go by data. Especially now that I'm talking about data and I have a data science expert here as well. I want to ask you, Jagan, at mFilter It, how do you identify the market opportunity for fraud detection, and what is the latest technology that you want to discuss about, which has helped or maybe is changing the face of fraud prevention, especially in country like India, wherein people are as should be. How do you think that a fraud prevention opportunity with the cutting edge technology would be changing a lot of thing and would be helping a lot of people out by the product development approach that you have?
Sure. See, before we start with that, right, I'll just talk about how we identify opportunities first, right? So typically we are a fraud prevention company, and at mFilter, our mission is to keep digital safe, right? So, and we operate predominantly across multiple spectrums, identifying ad frauds, investment scams, and various other things that prevent people, right? So in this opportunity, you may find opportunity from three different sources, right? Obvious, it's very obvious, voice of your customer. So you have to constantly listen to your customer, understand what they are not saying, which is more important than what they are saying. That's one. Second thing is looking at the market as such, right? So that what's trending in the market, what's happening in the area that you are operating in. That is very then third, looking at your competitors also, right? So if you're a product company specifically, looking at your competitors to see if you are missing out on certain things, right? So opportunities can come on all these things, come from all these angles. And especially for a company like us, but fraud is very prevalent, right? So fraud can come in all forms and shapes. And with all this agentic age, GenAI, fraudsters are actually adopting these technology to kind of scam people. So in order to go one step ahead, we have to be aware of the latest technology trends also, right? So you have to be aware of technology trends, and then you have to identify where those trends needs to be applied in your product and to beat the scam or fraud, whatever product you're operating in. So identifying opportunity can come from your customer, the market study that you do, the research that you do in the market, or your competition. You have to be aware of this. You have to be one step ahead of this. Also identifying what are the latest technology trends that are available, relevant, and how to apply that in your product. That is going to give you the edge to stay relevant in this market. That's what I feel.
Definitely, we need companies to come up with such fraud prevention mechanism that helps a lot of people who are currently victims of such type of frauds that are going on.
To add to
Amit,
that,
yeah, go ahead.
Manisha, frauds are even bigger in developed countries rather than third world countries.
Give you an example. We developed a investment scam bot. So typically, what happens to you when you click on a malicious link, right? A fraud talks to you over WhatsApp, tries to chat with you. So to beat that, what we have done is we have created a bot. Okay, so basically, he thinks that he is speaking to a human, but whereas it's a bot talking to him. And as soon as he shares his payment details, we collect it and then we report it back to the banks. So this is using technology to kind of outsmart a scam or a fraud person, right? So technology today is available, right? So we can do a lot of things, but how to apply that for a good cause and make our products better is something that we have to constantly evaluate and work on.
Jagan, amazing insight on what is happening, and I'm glad to know that we have such technologies. Now, when we talk about AI development of technology, a very important team that is there is a quality team, and I know Amit works very closely and is leading quality team at his company. Amit, with the AI that is prevalent and there is machine learning that is rapidly getting advanced, we have heard news. We have heard people claiming that testing roles will be automated away completely. Some companies are already using AI to automatically detect bugs and fix codes, and even without any human intervention. So, as someone who has testing very close to their heart and to the previous technological shift, do you see the tester's role fundamentally disappearing, or are we instead seeing it transforming in a certain way? So, do you think that human would still be relevant going forward for specifically for the testing roles with AI augmented landscape?
So let's be honest here. I think AI is definitely changing how we approach quality engineering, but it doesn't mean it's replacing the quality professionals. In fact, while we know that AI can automate repetitive testing tasks and predict defects, it can write test cases automatically today. What it lacks, at least today, is the human judgment. It still can't fully grasp the complex business logic, the user empathy, and the broader context in which the products and applications are being used. And that's where the role of the quality engineering professionals come into play. Interestingly, make AI work in this particular field, in the field of quality and testing, we actually need people who are experts in both quality engineering as well as AI. Quality engineering professionals, they can play a key role in training these models, making sure that the output that we get from AI is meaningful. And I'll give you an example. Of late, we were trying to generate test cases automatically from user stories. Manisha, as you mentioned, there are already products and offerings out there which do it. In fact, Atlassian's Jira already offers such a capability. What we need to understand is how effective is it? How effectively can such offerings generate these test cases? What are the quality engineers looking today and what these products have to offer, right? What is the gap there? So I think while there's a huge opportunity to work alongside AI, it's still not replacing the humans, at least today. We are fast moving in that direction, but I think we're still not there today.
Adding to Amit, right? See, AI is here to stay. You can not only with quality engineering, it is going to impact all functions of business, right? So the question is, are you going to run away from it? Are you going to deny it? Or are you going to embrace it for your good? Right. So AI, end of the day, is a tool. Right. So how we employ it to get maximum value out of it is something that we all have to think about. The bare minimum need is we have to be AI literate. It doesn't matter if you are a technical person or a business person, which function you are from. The bare minimum skill that everybody is going to need is basic AI literacy. Right. So how to use AI for your function to make yourself more productive. And if you develop that mindset, it will definitely stand out. So I think we'll have to look it from that lens, right? So that's what I feel. Being in a
Great. So we are talking about how AI is important and how it can change the face of the quality engineering in future maybe. Amit, can you maybe quote top two, three technologies that you want our viewers to be aware of or should start exploring that will help them if they are already a tester or they are trying to move from testing to product role? Is there any specific technologies or something that you want them to learn or to explore so that it can help them out in future?
But I think the biggest evolution that has happened in the last 5 years or so is AI that we have seen right now. Just automation in general, which is traditionally being the productivity tool for a very long time, probably more than a couple of decades, is evolving fast because of artificial intelligence, and that's one thing, and not even two, three, right? That's one thing which quality engineering professionals should definitely focus on to become insanely productive. You already shared a couple of examples that you have seen in action, and I totally agree that these are the ones that, and beyond that, right? These are the ones that will evolve pretty fast. Jagan mentioned being aware of the evolution itself, keeping a tab on the new capabilities which are on offer will help the quality engineers today to stay up to date and make sure that they remain relevant.
So, Anand, for a very long time, you have silent, and I don't like that. I am not going to ask anything about AI. It's from you. I want to understand how you have shifted from this corporate. How do you move from this corporate mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, and you are developing something of your own? We are all aware of that, and I mean, maybe you want to talk about that journey, and from engineering to, I mean, the company that you are trying to develop right now is not very related to engineering piece of it. So how are you shifting your thought process, and do you think you are meeting different people in this, because you're shifting from a corporate to an entrepreneurship? And then I do you think that, is there anything for the people who are our viewers and they want to learn more about entrepreneurship, and something that they should be aware before they start exploring all those?
Sure. So, Manisha, see, entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, requires something called what we, call in Hindi as a kida kind of a thing. Without that, an urge, a continuous urge at the back of your mind, wanting to solve a particular problem, looking at what the context in which you want to solve the problem, looking at whom do you want to solve the problem for, and looking at the ways and the means that you would use to solve that particular problem, validating whether that problem is making sense to the people for whom you're solving the problem. All these are, typically, a structured approach. And, we keep hearing these, frameworks like, for example, business model canvas or lean startups or, jobs to be done. Like, typically when you want to solve a particular problem, what you want to do is you want to, fulfill the unmet needs, remove pains, provide gains to some user, some customer who is facing that particular problem today. And when you start from there to, kind of get on that particular entrepreneurial journey, and in a nutshell, if you will, the scale of the way in which you are solving, say, for example, your engineering problems would vary. And for that, you'll have to come out with, different frameworks. There are jobs to be done, ambition, even innovation ambition matrix, and various frameworks are there that you can utilize to come out with that particular approach, and take that journey to the entrepreneurial journey. It's a very rewarding journey. It gives a tremendous satisfaction, but at the same and tremendous high, if you will. But at the same time, it is fraught with risks, and tremendous risks. I would like to qualify that further, and you need to be very, very careful at the same time.
Business Model Canvas is a strategic management tool that helps business visualize and access their business model by breaking them down into 9 sections. I will add the link to that and you can refer to. Similarly, JTBD, or the jobs to be done, is a mechanism, is a lens through which you can observe your market, your consumer, a competitor, and customer segment differently, and you can make your innovation far more predictable and profitable. Yes, please go ahead.
Anand, this is a question. The entrepreneurial bug had bitten you a few years back as well. What learnings from that journey are you carrying into this?
Very good question. And that is one of the reasons why I also decided to do this EMBA as well. See, again, if you remember the comment that I made about gut feel approach and structured approach, gut feel approach and data driven approach, gut feel approach and framework driven approach, right? That is exactly the difference that I would say would be compared to between the two journeys that I would take, the entrepreneurial journey, one in the past and one now. For example, I did not know jobs to be done where, right? I did not know the various frameworks that I could have used not only for value proposition, but for go to market, for business strategy. There are so many things that one can achieve in a structured approach. Basically, I would say that I did not have the requisite tools when I had my gourmet ice cream business before, to kind of take it to the kind of level of success that I would have wanted to. Of course, COVID was a huge impact at that point of time, but I would still, looking back, I would say that the difference is a structured approach, a measurable approach, a data-driven approach, a more plausible approach, a more, something which you can bank on, right? That is the approach that I would say I would bring to my next venture.
You also said you need Kida, but we also need to have the stomach for to be an entrepreneur, right? And I think this entire program, right? So all these structured frameworks kinds of help you to mitigate that risk that you foresee, correct? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Very well said, Jagan. That risk appetite is certainly necessary, but going through these frameworks and finding out the ways and means to solve these problems mitigates those risks. I would agree with you 100%.
Okay, good to hear that. Again, going back to AI piece of it, Jagan, you are also developing something which is very close to my heart. I mean, I'm a huge fan of what you are doing. Maybe I have not told that before, but I really am an advocate of mental health. I really want to support. I really support people otherwise as well. But I know I am no psychologist, or I am not somebody who's qualified to give suggestions to people. I could be a friend, that's all I can do. But with Atma AI that you are bringing into picture, do you think, and Amit has mentioned like the empathy and the human approach of it, right? So with Atma AI, how are you bringing in the human empathy or the human approach to the AI part?
See, with Atma especially, the idea is to be an extension for the psychologist, not a replacement to the psychologist, right? So, see, we are talking about mental wellness, and it's a very human core kind of a business, right? So you need to feel, and many times what happens is people want to talk to someone physical, right? So they want to see them upfront. Where we have AI components built into this journey is you also have to look at this journey from a psychologist point of view. Okay, so every patient that they talk to, or every person that they have therapy with, they spend equal amount of time taking notes, doing prep work, documenting, and all those things, right? And it actually gives them huge cognitive load, right? So we can use AI there to reduce their cognitive load. So enable them to be more productive, enable them to be, if they're doing 5 sessions today, they go to a burnout stage, right? So maybe they can do 10 sessions without getting into a burnout stage, right? So that's where I see AI. It's basically an extension of a therapist or a psychologist, not a replacement, right? So at Atma, we are actually looking at it as an AI centric, human centric AI assisted platform. So that's how we wanted to take it, at least for now.
Amit, we had discussion about an idea that you want to develop, which would be more focused on, I'm assuming, about the health monitoring and how it can be done on a click of a phone or something like that. So, how did you come up with that idea? So, I want to know more about the idea. That I mean, it's still work in progress, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done. But I really want to understand that from software engineer to a technology head testing and etc, where do you see yourself, your contribution as an engineer and as an entrepreneurial mindset that you have, or the spirit that you have? How do you think it is helping you shape or learn more about or explore more about your current idea of health monitor app? I believe, yeah, you can tell more about it.
Sure. So I'll take a step back. During one of my interactions with Professor Sai Satish, he asked me a question: how many ideas do you get, on a daily basis? And I said, maybe there are thousands of ideas on various topics. He said, what do you do about it? Well, nothing much. And that's what actually triggered the thought. While we have so many ideas, why don't we do anything about it? And rather than, getting ideas is no big deal. Four of us sitting here, we can generate hundreds of ideas within an hour. The point is, how about taking one of them and trying to solve the problem? And while I had several ideas, I started with Traffic, which was my product in the EMBA course. This health app was another one. And there are a bunch of others which are in my backlog. But let's talk about this one, right? The idea is a lot of us do health checks, proactive and preventive health checks. But there are times when we have to do these health checks from multiple service providers. And then we have to keep all those reports. Sometimes these reports run into several tens of pages. And when you go for consulting, you have to carry all those with you. It's not very easy to scan through those results and get a quick understanding of what it is. This product idea was about consolidating the health records, keeping a track of it, helping not just the patient or the person who is undergoing these health checks to get a quick understanding of the trend, the pattern that they are seeing across various health parameters, but also for the physicians to quickly understand, hey, what's happening there, eventually leading into and leveraging the advanced technologies to predict what what's coming up for this person and what can be done preventively to address that concern, right? So that was the product idea. But to go back to your question, Manisha, about developing that entrepreneurial mindset, I think it started with that question that triggered me to think, okay, there is a problem. Why don't we pick that one problem, solve it, experiment with it? There is always a learning that you will get out of it. And while I've not started my entrepreneurial journey yet, I won't be surprised if over a period of time that, Kida, which Anand mentioned, bites me at some point in time. But even if it doesn't, there are several intrapreneurship opportunities that you can explore, applying the same mindset within your organization. Because even in the current state, not no organization is perfect. And there will be problems that all individuals may be encountering. Why don't you pick one of them, apply all the learnings that we've learned so far, and try to solve that problem? The approaches are similar, so that's what I would say.
Very well said. Amit, before getting to that point, it's a fantastic idea, especially for India, where we keep rotating the health check providers and have the health records, and so we should definitely pursue it. But coming to that entrepreneurship, right? So I think that's one mindset that everybody should embrace, because you are an entrepreneur without the risk, right? So there is nothing like it. So if you are in a company and then if you have space, supporting environment to do it, you should pursue it at all costs. Become an entrepreneur. Take up an idea in your company, execute it, apply your learnings. So definitely go for it.
So one way to look at it is, when I talk to my fellow entrepreneurs, right? They always say that try to start a business with somebody else's money. Don't put your own money. Okay. The reason is very simple, that there is a risk of the business failing and then you lose all the money that you have spent. With entrepreneurship, if you will, it gives a very good idea to really, really do or start a business with somebody else's money. When I say somebody else, it is your company's money. Of course, then there are processes, internal processes, which ensure that there are necessary checks and balances and all that. But I totally agree with you, Jagan, that entrepreneurship is one absolutely fantastic platform which can where you can actually let your creative juices flow.
And I think on top of this, along with the necessary support in terms of funding the idea, I think there is a lot of support system as well.
Yes,
Mentoring, because what you're trying to accomplish
totally.
is, as long as it is towards achieving the business goals, there are a lot of people who will be there to support you as well. So if you go through this process, a bunch of times within your current
Looks
organization
like
as
we
well,
lost him.
it's
We'll
like
lost him in between. No problem. I think he might join in again.
let me know if you're able to
Yeah,
hear me
you're
now.
back with us.
You're
Okay.
back.
Yeah, what I
Your
was saying
sound is
is,
back with us.
okay,
Yeah,
Oh, you're
uh,
gone again.
yeah. We are still not.
okay, am I back?
Yeah, you
Yes,
Yes,
are.
you
you're
are.
coming back. Now
Okay,
you're back.
all right. So
Yeah.
yeah, what I was saying is, as long as you're trying to achieve something through the intrapreneurial idea, there's a lot of support system available. Once you go through this couple of times, it also hones your skills for entrepreneurship. Right? So it could be like a stepping stone as well to get into a entrepreneurial journey at some point in time.
Absolutely.
One very important thing that I understood from all of you, that we talked about EMBA, right? We talked about our respected Sai Satish sir. Do you think belonging to engineering background, and I might be wrong, I'm just asking a question based on the discussion that we are having. Do you think belonging from background, one should always consider going to a mentor or maybe pursuing some course that will give them some idea before they what do you say, exhaust them into understanding that why am I not getting a product management role, rather than like how to be prepared to jump to, or whenever the opportunity comes, grab it. So how do you think, how important is a mentor or guide or any course like this would be for anyone who wants to move from this engineering mindset or role to an intra or a product development role? Yeah.
See, as I said, there are two aspects. One is somebody, kind of throwing cadence on what the reality of the situation is. Okay. Second is, your urge to, want or your need or your urge to move from your current engineering discipline to maybe a little bit broader discipline. You need to know that what is the kind of problem that you want to solve. Right. If you want to solve an engineering problem, you might as well continue in the same line. Right. But if you want to move from solving an engineering problem to a business problem, then you will find that you are in uncharted waters. And when you are in uncharted waters, really, really experienced mentors who have, traversed that particular path, have seen a lot of these kind of initiatives, these kind of, approaches, entrepreneurial approaches, intrapreneurial approaches, some failing, some succeeding, all these, if you have somebody who can shine that light, provide that kind of cadence, it is tremendously helpful. And it will help you make the right decision. Because if you're getting into something with a wrong approach or a wrong idea, then you have already set yourself up for failure, right? So, talking to these kind of mentors clears the air, clears the fog, if you will, and gives you the necessary clarity that is required. Once you have the clarity, then you're free to make your own decision.
Yeah, I
There
agree
are
with
two
Anand here.
steps. Go ahead, Jagan.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
sorry.
please.
So see, I agree with Anand here. Right? See, when you're talking about mentors, you're talking about people who have treaded that path, experimented and failed most of the time, right? So it makes your path easy, right? So you don't have to take that risk, right? So you talk to mentors, you find out this will work, this will not work. That again minimizes your risk. And it's not about one point that I would like to counter is like it's not whether you want to move from engineering to product manager or not, right? So even to grow within the engineering line, so beyond a certain point, you will have to have some kind of business acumen, right? And programs like these kind of give you that edge, right? So you become a better engineer. That's all. So that's how I see it, at least, right?
Agreed with you, Jagan.
I think it starts with any transition, any growth, even within the current work stream. It starts with, I think, two things. One is being self aware. Where do we stand today? And where do we want to go? Right. So, what's the gap? And second thing is developing your career paths and career options to get there. Because there is no single way to go from one stage to the other. If you stick to one path, if you encounter roadblocks, it's going to slow your progress. My suggestion is to find different paths. If you want to go from engineering roles to product roles, what are the different paths that you can take?
Mm.
And try to gain that cross-functional expertise as and when you get those opportunities. Sometimes those opportunities not may not exist today, but there is something else which is available. So why not grab it, gain that experience, and then switch on to something else? So it's like rather than sticking to one path, how do you navigate through different options to get there? And mentors are the ones who will not only help you become self-aware, but also help you find those different options to get there.
Correct.
And you don't necessarily need to get yourself a formal mentor assigned within your organization or wherever you work, but you can have informal mentors as well. And there are a whole bunch available for us if you really look for them. What I've also seen is if you really opt for professional mentors, they will make a lot of difference, right? It is an investment that is worth it. So if you have not considered that, I would surely encourage you to look for those options as well. you will definitely get tremendous value out of it.
Great input from all of you. So I was having an offline discussion with Aditya. He was a part of episode 2. And he said, Manisha, I can solve bunch of problems. I am an amazing problem solver. But I don't know whether the problem that I'm solving is right or not. So I need somebody to tell me or at least guide me to know that is it an actual problem that I'm trying to solve, or what is the problem? Let us say, like, overall, what is the problem? So nobody will stop you from failing. I mean, nothing can stop you from failing. It's just that you will fail less, like
Yes,
the
yeah,
risk will
exactly.
be reduced, definitely. So before we close, I want each of you to answer top 3 technology or top 3 behavioral trait that you think is a must required for an engineering professional to move to any kind of product mindset. So what do you think 3 technologies that is going to change the entire phase of product development according to each one of you? Yeah.
So I'll go first. Any technology professional, any engineer, right? As I mentioned before, they have to be aware of how they can use AI to make themselves more productive. If they are developers, vibe coding is the trend, right? So you have coding assistants today, data scientists, same thing. So if you are a product manager, you have to know how to use these latest tools to generate PRDs. It may not solve all your problem, but it definitely takes you to your point A to point B faster. Okay, so you have to first you have to be ready to take on that journey, right? So you should not live in denial. Okay, that is point one. Second thing is looking outwards, right? So don't work in silos, because gone are the days where you can work in a silo and be successful, right? So teams, like business people, are using these tools to generate code today, right? So they are stepping into your area. So you have to also step out and then learn about business. It's going to make you more powerful at the end of the day. So these are two things that I think are very important, right? So embrace whatever latest trends that comes in, how to use AI for making yourself better, to step out of your comfort zone or your silo, and then try to work across all the things. It's a cross functional thing. So those are two things that definitely everybody should start doing.
I would like to, kind of more than technologies, I would like to say these are approaches, okay, for today to make the necessary transition. Complete alignment and focus on the business goals. That is something that I would like to, uh, you know, uh, uh, kind of say over here. The focus has changed. The focus has moved from giving or providing output, okay, to outcomes. And this focus is like, I'll give you a simple example. Like Amit would identify with it. Previously, the productivity of a QA engineer would be on the number of defects that he would identify, right? Or a programmer would be on the lines of code, or the less number of defects that are identified in his code, kind of a thing would be there, right? Compared to that, now the paradigm has shifted. It has shifted towards how are you helping the partner, or how are you helping that particular product, and what are the business outcomes that you're helping that particular team and the product in achieving. That focus is a huge paradigm shift. So alignment with the business goals and becoming more and more focused on business outcomes is, I would say, one approach which would help make this particular transition. And then certainly, continuous learning and adaptability, because you can't escape that in today's world. The technology shift is happening at a pace which is unprecedented. I mean, I know people who are 60 years old, who are learning new things today and trying to adapt and imbibe and apply, and those kind of things. So if you start looking at things as, I mean, all these technologies as tools to solve your problem, you will very quickly find out ways and means to apply those tools to solve your problem. And if you have that mindset, I think you are in the right place.
Manisha, if you look at what Jagan said and Anand said, both of them did not stress on the technology per se, but they spoke about the behaviors which are important in this particular case. And I would take that to one step further by saying that three things which I feel are significant here. One is the significant level of engineering professionals typically do not demonstrate. That's what I've seen. Developing that customer centricity while developing your products.
Yeah.
laser focus on what you're trying to solve. Don't build products and offerings for everybody. Try to narrow it down to a very specific problem that you can solve and generate tremendous value rather than trying to solve a huge problem or a problem for a huge number of people, but that does not a lot of value for them. And finally, don't become overly passionate about the product that you're trying to build, but become passionate about the problem that you're trying to solve. If this product offering is not something which the market needs, then you will be able to build something else because then you're focused on the problem, not the product that you're trying to build.
Very well said, Amit.
Thank you, everyone. This is the end of today's episode wherein we discussed about engineering, entrepreneurs, and intrapreneurs. And I want to sincerely extend my thanks to exceptional panel of Jagan, Amit, and Anand for sharing their journey and insights with us today. To our audience, I hope you have gained valuable perspective on leveraging technical expertise to drive business innovation or product innovation. And always remember that the bridge between engineering and entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship is not built overnight, but our guests have demonstrated technical foundation can become very powerful catalyst for business leadership. So if you find our conversation interesting, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel Product Leaders Guild on YouTube, and please like and share the episode with colleague who might benefit from these insights. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Manisha.
you.